Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Cheboiwo, Director, Kenya Forest Research Institute. Here today in Taita Taveta Voi, we are having a conversation with the youth on issues related to environment, conservation, and how environment can enhance livelihoods and the opportunities the youth have in generating employment and incomes from forestry and environmental matters. As you have just rightly asked, what is the country doing at the moment in the area of forestry? And I would like to say that if you are well aware, in 2018, His Excellency retired President Uhuru Kenyatta launched 10% tree cover by 2022, which is took as a legacy initiative. And at the end of 2021, this country undertook a survey to establish the status of our forest cover and the status of our tree cover, which indicated that by end of 2021, we had 12.3% tree cover and 8.8% tree cover across the country. And counties in the country, which are 47, had different metrics on this. The leading in tree cover or forest cover is Nyeri at almost 40%, followed by Lamu at almost 32%, and then all the way to counties like the one which is here, Taita, which is below 10% forest cover. Before the end of his term, His Excellency President Kenyatta set his ambition or set the country to achieve 30% tree cover as opposed to 10% by 2022 by 2050. And in the first few weeks of his term, His Excellency President William Ruto set his ambition of achieving the 30%, which was set to be achieved at 2050, at 2032. That is the 10 years of his tenure as president of this country in his expectation. And under this, there is what's called a raised ambition. What this particular strategy has is to mobilize public sector, private sector, partner institutions, individuals to bring on board almost 600 billion Kenya shillings to mobilize the resources and plant 10.6 million hectares across the country. That's public land, community land, and private land by 2032. And under this, it wants to create an army of almost 2 million Kenyans, especially the youth, to participate in growing of the trees, nurturing of the trees for almost 3 years to the time they can nurture themselves and grow into trees. This is now the ambition in which Kenya Kwanza government has put in place. And we as institutions, we as individuals, as you have said, is our whole government and our whole society on board. So everybody is supposed to be involved in this. It's not only government, but every Kenyan and every partner who loves Kenya and loves the environment will have to join up hands to do this. We as Kenya Forest Research Institute, we have almost 2 responsibilities in this. As you are aware, Kenya Forest Research Institute is the only institution in the country which is mandated to produce tree seed, either for commercial or conservation purposes. So our responsibility in this is to produce almost 100 metric tons of tree seeds every year for the next 10 years. And that one puts almost 1,000 metric tons to be produced by 2032, which can raise 16 billion seedlings, between 16 and 20 billion seedlings, worth almost 400 billion Kenya shillings. And this one will go to the youth, women group nurseries across the country, who will be able to produce these seedlings and sell them for purposes of planting the 10.6 million hectares. This is very, very ambitious program, and when it is launched, Every county, there will be county government coordinating committee and a sub-county coordinating committee up to the location, because the land is usually in the grassroots. That's where the degraded land which doesn't have trees, which need to be planted by 2032, will be mapped and then scaled up to the national metrics for us to know, when you are talking about this 10.6 million hectares, where is it? And how will it be planted? And who will plant it? And who will report it? And who will take care to ensure it grows into a tree, but not to die? So that's what I can say about the national metrics. There are quite a number of other issues which you have asked. What can you say about Shamba system? Shamba system is a very, very old collaborative framework in which local communities come together with government to plant trees in plantation areas, where trees are harvested for purpose of commercial. At the end of the harvesting, the community or individuals are given some land, especially in high potential areas where there is very, very high shortage of land. They produce crops, potatoes, maize, bees, many other crops at that particular land allocated. For 2 to 3 years, at the second year, the trees are planted in these particular parcels of land by the Kenya Forest Service, and those trees are taken care of the farmer for the next 2 to 3 years. Then the trees are picked, and then the farmer can move to the next farm, leaving the plantation growing in the next 20 years to become mature trees. So it has been a very, very good framework which benefits both the country in terms of low cost of establishing and maintaining our plantations, and also it gives the communities who are shortage of high quality land access to land to produce trees, to be able to get food and also sell and educate their children or do other development activities. What has been happening is that it's a governance issues where they will want to extend the land beyond the time in which they were allocated, and they were able to kill some few trees and there so that they can be able to get enough space and sunlight to come to their crops. These are governance issues, and there are guidelines which really stipulate what's supposed to be done, and supervision by the Kenya Forest Service, which has brought all this attention to the government, and they have been streamlined. We have developed now what's called Bailey's guidelines, and they are hiring more officers so that they can be able to supervise to ensure that whatever obligation the farmer has, he really does it according to the book. And the supervisory aspect is done by the Kenya Forest Service to ensure that the farmers also benefit and get good ample environment to grow their trees, and to grow the trees and as well as the crops, and benefit from this particular venture. So to me, it's very, very long. We started it in 1910. It's almost over 100 years old, and it has been with us, and it's already a culture within the areas where they operate, mostly in Central and the Rift Valley. So it's not easy to wish away. This is something which the public are expecting from the government or the public or the Kenya Forest Service, and it might not go anywhere anytime soon. It will be with us for a long time. One of the key responsibilities of KEFRI is to provide technologies of moving tree planting away from the highlands. In the highlands, the land available for tree planting is almost stabilized. If you cut few trees, you plant few trees. There is no big area to expand tree planting in the highlands. These are very highly populated areas and high agricultural areas. Where we are seeing, if you go and see the statistics, where most of the land is coming is medium and dry lands. And one of the responsibilities KEFRI has been given is to provide technologies how to expand trees into the dry lands. And KEFRI has been in this business of developing technologies for dry land forestry since 1985. So we have been almost 6 years plus, and we are among the leading countries in development of dry land forest technologies in Africa, in terms of how many research work we have done, how many species we have recommended, and so on and so on. So now, a big chunk of this area we are targeting of the 10.6 million hectares will come from medium and dry lands. And now with the advent of climate change, where we are seeing these areas we are targeting, have had droughts for 3 years. And trees also require water. This will be a very, very big challenge for us or for those trees which we are trying to plant to survive. Even if we can get the most, we have bred some trees for drought tolerance, but it doesn't mean they don't need any water. They will need at least some water of millimeters, something like 600 millimeters per year. But without it, the trees will have to die. So definitely in our projection, if the climate change aspect is not conducive to us as a country, we might not achieve as our anticipation is. But let us hope the climate will not change drastically and we have a good climate recovery from what we have had for the next 3 years, and we shall be able to do a lot of tree planting and survivals in the drylands.